Welcome to the Kairos Wisdom Keepers podcast, where ancient wisdom meets the modern healer. In our podcast, we share how ancestral soul wisdom and cyclical living support today's healers in activating greater wealth, health, intuition, and spiritual connection.
Hello! Welcome to our third episode of the Kairos Wisdom Keepers podcast, embodying the wisdom of your healer's archetype. I'm Janet Raftis.
And I'm Ina Lukas. And today we're going to talk about the different healer archetypes that we work with and how it impacts you when you claim and embody your healer's archetype.
So
Woo!
what? I know, right? Feels so good. So what is a healer's archetype? Well, these are archetypal energies that healers resonate with. And so healers are very unique in how the energy of source flows through them. And we have identified and work with 6 primary healer archetypes. There are other variations and flavors, and each of these archetypes also resonates by different names. But we're going to go ahead and provide for you and talk about here 6 sort of umbrella archetypes that we've worked with the most. The first one is the dark goddess.
The dark
Ina?
goddess.
The dark goddess rules the realm of the underworld. She holds deep scorpionic energy, and this scorpionic energy allows for the transmutation of shadow and trauma. She is not afraid to go into the dark places. She is not afraid to tell it like it is. The dark goddess cuts to the quick. She is powerful in the realm of transformation because there is nothing that she is not afraid of. She will overturn every rock, every stone. She will go into any closet and pull out every single skeleton in there. She doesn't mince her words. I mean, we all know someone like this. This person can be super intense, but she is super powerful.
Yeah. And oftentimes, dark goddesses have gone through some kind of initiation that oftentimes looks like some form of sexual abuse, emotional abuse, addiction in childhood. Like there's a dark, like she's been in the underworld. She comes into the world having walked through the underworld as she's gaining her powers. And that's a really, really important gift because the dark goddess understands what it's like to be in the dark places. She understands what it's like to work through trauma. And so we can't emphasize enough that this is the gift of the dark goddess, is what she has walked through in the underworld, that she's bringing forth. We need dark goddesses more than ever right now because you guys are the ones that are transmuting this energy and bringing in the light.
Yeah. We love us some dark goddesses.
We do.
The next archetype we're going to talk about is the oracle. So this is also the priestess type of energy. And if you resonate with the oracle archetype, you are able to channel messages from spirit. You are able to guide others towards desired outcomes in their lives. You are likely a psychic medium. You receive messages from spirit in a lot of ways. You may channel them. You may psychically see them. You may hear them. Your messages may be predictive, and you're able to see patterns and how they will play out. And so you're able to support others in powerfully creating their lives. This archetype also holds the energy of the wise woman. She's an old soul a lot of the times, and she provides very wise counsel.
Yeah. She's often seen with a tarot deck or an oracle deck. Loves channeling messages from the divine. Like truly, it's oracles are such channelers of messages for people.
Yeah, so powerful. The next one we're going to talk about is the Creatrix.
This is Janet.
This is my primary. Oracle's my secondary. So we're all in Janetlandia right now. So the Creatrix is a healer who works in the realm of co-creation with spirit. She has very strong pattern recognition. She has a deep knowing of how the fabric of the universe works. She is able to weave templates and blueprints and timelines. She is a timeline shifter. She travels through the multidimensional universe, reweaving blueprints and going through portals. She likes to play as a cosmic seamstress.
You should see Janet's sewing kit. Cosmic seamstress sewing kits. Maybe we should start selling those.
I think we do.
That's true.
In fact, we can tell you about one a little later. Yeah.
And with this, it's important to remember that you probably have one dominant primary archetype, but you may hold energies of all of the different archetypes. So you might recognize yourself in each of these different archetypes, but you probably have one dominant one that you're going to feel the most resonance with.
Yeah. So the next one is the witch. And the witch is in the midst of a powerful reclamation after being stigmatized and persecuted for several centuries. Yes. The witch has been through it.
She's been burned at the stake, you guys.
Yeah, but she's making a powerful comeback. And through the healing of the witch wound, which has been it's in a big comeback, and witches are really moving through this. And we would say here too that most of these archetypes experience the witch wounding, even if witch isn't their primary archetype, because healers for several thousands of years have been persecuted. But the witch feels it the most. So as they go through the healing of their witch wound, they are really in a massive reclamation.
Yeah. And witches are witchy. They love to spell cast. They love to do ritual. Witches probably have candle wax drippings around their house. They're doing candle magic and spell casting in such fun and amazing ways. Like you will see a lot of ritual things around a witch's home.
Yeah, for sure. She really, really loves spell work, and she works with nature, and it's similar to the Creatrix in that she really understands that the words that you say create your reality, right? I mean, so there is a bit here of that seamstress energy, right? Like the words we put out actually determine how we create and what comes back to us. So this is also a powerful way to co-create. The next one is the medicine woman. And, there was a time when the medicine woman and the witch and the shamaness and a lot of these archetypes in this realm the midwife were very similarly categorized. These were the women who lived out in the woods. They had the hut in the woods when they were making tinctures, and they had their gardens, and they were, at times casting spells and, so forth and so on. And it's been sort of parsed out into these different archetypes now and really is felt differently by the modern healer. So some, of course, resonating with the archetype we just discussed, the witch. The medicine woman has got a little bit of a different flavor than the witch. The medicine woman is really this woman who is, she's got, twigs in her hair, and she's running around the garden barefoot, and she's concocting tinctures, and she's probably bringing babies into the world. And she may be escorting people out of the world as well.
As a death doula.
Yeah. There's a beautiful wildness to this archetype. And she often does resonate with the wild woman, also with the wise woman.
If you're a medicine woman, you probably carry little herbal remedies and homeopathics in your purse. Wherever you are, you have some kind of little remedy going on. You're clipping herbs as you're walking through places, collecting flowers, collecting seeds.
Yeah, you're the one with a big leather satchel over her shoulder, and anytime anyone's like, "Oh, I'm sneezing," she's like, "Well, I've got an essential oil for that, or I've got a tincture for that." If you've heard yourself say that, this could be your archetype.
Yes.
And then next we have our beautiful shamaness. So Ina, take it away, my dear.
Yes, the shamaness archetype. The shamaness is probably the most ancient healing archetype, as we have evidence of shamanic healing dating back to the Paleolithic period from most parts of the world. And the shamaness has a strong connection to nature spirits, plants, and animals. And she believes that disease comes from dis-ease in the body and mind. She uses this connection to honor and foster healing, and she maintains a strong reverence for Gaia and her gifts. And the shamaness enters into trance states, often through sound, through drumming and rattling, and takes her clients into the underworld to retrieve lost or fragmented parts of themselves in order to integrate wholeness and healing. And the shamaness, if the shamaness is core in who you are, you have likely been through some form of shamanic initiations that could come in the form of a near-death experience, or some kind of, your soul must go through a gateway. Like there is just, and oftentimes multiple initiations that happen that activate this archetype within you. And probably more than anything, the shamanic archetype is primal. It's raw. You are barefoot and wild. Like you are the wild woman of the archetypes. You like don't look in the mirror in the morning. Like you go out into the world and you're just in nature. You're raw, you're alive, and there's a twinkle in your eye, and there's joy and laughter that bubbles up inside the shamaness, because the shamaness understands the cosmic joke of it all, and she's able to go through these different realms of the underworld and the upper world and go into the depths of darkness while also bringing in the light.
Yes, I love that. And I love you, my beautiful shamaness soul sister.
I will say, because that is my dominant nature. And if that shamaness energy is in you, you can't not be that. It's like a cat chasing a mouse. Like this inner drive of healing is so powerful and strong that you can't not be you and bring it in any situation.
Yes,
especially once you start embracing the archetype. So that's part of it. What happens when you actually embody these archetypes? Because if you've been denying these parts of yourself, your world is very wonky.
That is the perfect word for it. Yeah, I mean, this is such a huge thing. And when we are before we get to that place of being able to embody it, there can be a sense of feeling unmoored as a healer. You're not quite sure what you're doing or how you're doing it, and how do I present myself to the world, and what is being called through me. And it can feel very disorienting. And so I know a lot of healers, and myself included, when I first started doing healing work, I was doing it and I knew I was doing the right thing, but there was something that felt so off about it that I couldn't anchor myself into it. And it felt very it was discouraging in a way, because it felt like I was operating against myself in some ways. Like I knew I was on the right path, but I couldn't figure it out. And it's because it doesn't come from your head. It comes from your body. It's a visceral experience. And so it is, there's a journey here to discovering your archetype, and then really going through the process of embodying the energy.
Because you've probably spent a good chunk of your life denying and resisting your archetype and resisting who you are. And when you resist who you are, it's painful. It leads to addiction. It leads to checking out. It leads to money issues, relationship issues, because you're denying these deep, innate qualities of who you are. And so we've worked with thousands of women, and it's been amazing to witness what happens when someone actually starts embracing their archetype. First of all, understanding what their archetype is. And we actually, because this is so important to us, we created a Healers Archetype Quiz as a great way for you to actually go deeper into finding out what your archetype is. And we have been amazed when people take this quiz. One of the most dominant things that people say is, "Oh my God, I feel so seen and so validated." Right? Like, oh my God, this is who I am. This makes everything make sense.
Yeah. It's been this powerful process for people of aligning with that. And then once you align with it, then you can start the process of embodying it, right? So when you understand, like, oh, wait a minute, this is actually who I am. These parts of me that felt weird or different, or that I got teased about, or that people didn't understand about me, those are actually me. And I get to be those things. I get to like honor that and cultivate that. Well, what happens next is that you start to align with your personal North Star and your unique magic. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you understand that you're a shamaness, or you understand that you're a creatrix, then you start to understand the body of your mission and how you're going to actually accomplish the mission in the world.
Yeah. Which means that you start tapping into your true gifts and what you came here to do. You start tuning into your unique healer DNA, and you start operating in your unique zone of genius, which means by its nature, when you're embracing your zone of genius, you create a field of abundance around you. So it means you open up the floodgates to more money, to more abundance in your life, because you are aligning with who you are and you become magnetic. When you embrace your archetype, you are magnetic, you are visible, and people are drawn to the energy of your archetype, and they want more of it, because these archetypes are being activated all over the planet right now, and people are in need of healing. So when you turn it on, you're like a lighthouse to the people. There are so many people that need dark goddesses taking them into the underworld right now. There are so many people that need oracles that are giving them, supporting them, and receiving the messages from the universe. Like, all of these archetypes hold important codes and offerings that allow the transformation of humanity right now. And that allows you to be more fulfilled in your work, because when you're doing what you love, your heart is on fire, you're in your passion, and you become more abundant within your own body, within your own ecosystem of the abundance of life itself, because you're fulfilled in bringing through who you are.
Oh, I love that. And we have seen this in ourselves, and we have seen it in hundreds of women that we have worked with, y'all. There is something that turns on when you understand your unique healer's DNA. This archetypal energy has been cultivated for you through your ancestral lineage, through your soul lineage, and you chose it when you came here. You chose to be a healer, and you chose to be a certain kind of healer. You knew that if you came in with this certain lineage, with this certain repertoire of soul experience, then you would be able to bring through the most effective and powerful healing that was innate to you. Right. And what happens is a lot of the times we go out and we learn these modalities, and modalities are great. There's nothing wrong with those. I have studied many modalities, but modalities are oftentimes a framework that was created by somebody else. So again, they're great, and they're a great entry point. And also, so many people notice that once you learn a modality, it's like it doesn't quite fit. We honor the modalities because it was your entry point. It got your foot through the door, right? And then once you're in the door, it's like, oh, wait a minute. What is this magic that is within me? And how can I explore that? So if you get attuned to Reiki, but you operate strongly in Shamaness energy, there's going to be a mismatch there. Right. And so a big part of this is understanding like, oh, wait a minute, I can take this modality that I learned and I can use it as a thread, but I can also step into this archetypal energy of the shamaness or whatever it is, and I can begin to weave what is uniquely me. That comes from a place of embodiment. That comes from a place of that deep knowing that your magic is so important and vital. And when you take those different threads and you weave them together and you create your unique archetypal energy that is within the framework of shamaness, then you are enlivening yourself. You are becoming more of a greater fullness of source energy moving through you. And so the embodiment of this is very, very important because, as Ina said, this is where your abundance lives, right? It lives in your integration and activation of the truth of who you are.
Yeah. Your abundance and your well-being. When you're resisting who you are, you cause disease in your body. You are pinching yourself off. So when you start embracing your archetype, it's like your whole system comes into alignment with it. It's good for every area of your life.
It really is. I mean, we're talking about in a professional capacity here, but it is good for your relationships. It's good for your creative projects. It's good for how you interact with the world, because it really is this space of a deep eye opener to the essence of you that is magical. So we tend to discount the things that come naturally to us. We tend to overlook them or devalue them because we think they're easy or they are obvious. But the truth of the matter is that they are your special sauce.
Brought to you by your special sauce. So, how do you embody your special sauce of your healer archetype? The first thing is actually understanding what your archetype is, because that's when you identify who you are, then you have a place to put the flag in the ground. You have a place to anchor into. Oh, this is who I am. And then you go through the period of
That's exactly what it sounds like too.
That's the period where you're like, oh my God, everything is starting to make sense. Oh my God, I've been denying all these parts. Oh my God, this is who I am. And it really is a because your whole system is realigning to your actual North Star. You're being retemplated when you lock in to the understanding of what your archetype is. And like we mentioned earlier, that's one of the reasons that we created this Healer Archetype Quiz. And again, the archetypes that we're working with here are kind of the 6 umbrella archetypes that Janet and I have seen throughout so many healers. And there are many other archetypes. So these are the bigger, broader ones. And you can tune into, what's the even more nuanced archetype for you. But taking this quiz allows you to get that kind of bigger, dominant umbrella archetype answer. And then what we've done is with each of the archetypes, Janet and I created a channeled shamanic activation of each of the archetypes. So when you take this quiz, you have an opportunity to receive a dark goddess activation, a creatrix activation. And you're hearing us just talk in podcast land here, but our real magic, like what Janet and I came here to do, is to activate the fuck out of people.
We are really good at it.
We are really good at it. And our medicine is in these channeled activations. We've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these activations, and we have activations in general. But these archetypal activations, when Janet and I channeled them, we were both like, holy.
Holy a lot of things.
Holy a lot of things. They are so potent and so powerful. And each one is unique to the archetype. So if you have one dominant archetype, you can do that activation. If you have multiple ones going on, you can do each of these activations, and they awaken this DNA understanding of who you are in such a profound way. We've had so many people that are just listening to them over and over, and everything's like, then you start coming out the other side of the.
Yeah, I mean, these activations, what are activations? I mean, they are deep healings, but they also, what they do is they awaken things within you. They awaken remembrances. They awaken your gifts. They awaken codes. They awaken your DNA. So what happens is things come online for you. Things retemplate. Your whole body actually will reorganize, its atoms and molecules into this new way of being. They are very powerful initiators of a new way of being in the world. So when we say that, we create an activation for these archetypes, what these activations do is they awaken what has been latent or asleep in your system, and they bring it online, and they retemplate you to be a greater embodiment of that archetypal energy.
Yeah. And then when you allow the fullness of your archetype into your life without denying it, everything starts shifting. So that's another part of embodying it, is actually starting to live and breathe it and starting to take on more and more of the qualities of it, which it becomes a natural process as these dormant codes start lighting up and coming on. Then you can't not be that medicine woman. You can't not be that creatrix. You can't not be that oracle in your life. And again, everything starts lining up around it. Everything becomes better when you own it, when you claim it, when you embody it, when you walk the path of it, when you speak it, when you live it, when you bring that archetype into the world. You are creating global and cosmic change.
100%. And the world right now really needs all the people who feel the call of the healer. The world really needs you right now. The world really needs you in your fullness, embracing your unique magic, bringing your mission out into the world, because it really is an all hands on deck moment. And we just need your magic. We need you in your healing brilliance.
Yeah. Your magic is our mission. Janet and I came here to awaken the fuck out of healers and to be a part of this shift in connection with Gaia, the shift in connection to healing and getting out of the corporate realm and coming back into the nature realm, and these ancient ways of healing that are so alive in you. So today on this podcast, we touched on these 6 umbrella archetypes, but we really, if this is lighting you up, we really encourage you to take the Healers Archetype Quiz, because in that, when you get the results, we go much deeper, and there's PDFs and rituals and a deeper understanding of how to embrace your archetype and how to actually work with it on a daily basis. So we have the link to that quiz in the show notes. We highly encourage you to check it out and own your archetype, embody your archetype, embrace your archetype. We need you.
Yeah. And your archetype is a wisdom keeper. The archetypal energy is a wisdom keeper. Within the coding is wisdom that supports you in this journey. So we have so much great information in store for you in this podcast. And if you'd like to hear more, please follow Kairos Healers Academy on Instagram or any other social media channel. Like and subscribe. We would be so grateful.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Kairos Wisdom Keepers, where healers walk outside of time.